Welcome back to the show. This is the AM show, and of course, I'm doing this with Roland Walker. Right now, we're going to talk about relationships. It is Relationship Friday. So, like I said earlier, most successful women have had to marry men who are, or happen to be engaged with men who are younger than they are, and sometimes those who earn lesser than the women do. If you live in this part of our world, you do understand that, it creates some sort of issues. Perhaps it does in other jurisdictions as well, but let's talk about here. So for these women, respecting their partners sometimes become difficult. So how do you make such a relationship blossom despite the seeming friction, the challenges that you may have? And for the men, how do you gain the respect of a woman who's older and also earns more than you do? So I have in the studio with me our relationship coaches, Amos, Kevin-Annan. Thank you very much for coming. How are you doing?
Very well.
Okay. Also in the studio with me is Catherine Owindokit.
Good job.
Yeah.
To an extent.
I got it. Okay. So Kevin here tells me that this is his own shade of red for the Red Friday. We'll take it like that. Let's zoom right into our discussion for today. Oh, I didn't mention what she does. She's the founding president of the Family Renaissance International. She's an author, relationship coach, marriage counselor. So that is we just call her Mama Catherine for short. Okay, so that will work for now. Let's talk about why is it a big deal. Let me start with you, Mama Kath, since you are a woman. Why is it even a big deal that a woman marries someone younger than they are, or someone who earns less than they are? Is it a big deal? Should it be a big deal?
Thank you very much. I think it boils down to traditional structures that had existed long before now, that we had been used to. And so when people want to shift or make a paradigm shift from what had been to what is now, it becomes a real issue. And there are many more issues that are related to it. I think growing up, generations uncountable, you discover that men were normally older than the women they married, and men were practically the breadwinners. So having to embrace a new dimension of marriage now calls for a sitting down to discuss. Because to be very sincere, women, I think by reason of what we were birthed to see, we were meant to be married to people who were older and earning more. But the dynamics also has changed, like I've said. So it becomes a real problem if there is no communication. And I believe the communication should not be after the marriage. It should be before the marriage, where the dynamics are being talked about, where the different perspective has to be closely looked into. And then where probably the woman, because I have a few cases like that had come to me, and I tell them, there's no big deal having to marry a man that you are 5-10 years younger or older than. But the issue is, what you would have done with an older man, you may not be able to do with a younger person.
Okay, we'll get into what you would have done with an older man, and I'm wondering what is it that I could do with a younger man that I can't do with an older man. But is it okay? But is it? Let me come to you, Mr. And is it biblical? I mean, is it the way the structure of biblical stories, for instance, also lend itself to explaining the reason why people find it odd that older women will marry younger men?
Well, thank you very much. Mindful of the fact that our audience are pluralistic in its reflection, the biblical story may not make sense to many other persons, but for those that can relate with that, the Judeo-Christian standard has been what Mama Kathy alluded to, which is it was normal and regular to find older males getting into marriage with younger females because they were supposed to be the ones to sustain the family and to lead and to head the homes. So those traditional structures still are very prevalent in the minds of many individuals. So embracing a new contemporary norm becomes adversarial. And when you take a posture of entrenchment, then you cannot be able to find your levels within this new reality. Now, having said that, the first lesson would be adjustment for these individuals. So the biblical narratives may be good, but what's your current reality?
But in terms of adjustment, even if the person is older than you, even if you're the same age, you still have a lot of adjustments.
Is always a call. It's the first call in any relational, reality. If you want to come together with somebody in a relationship, whether in a marriage or a prenuptial relationship, adjustment will be required of you. You have to give away something because you want to build a relationship with this individual who's completely different, coming with a different viewpoint, different understanding, different appreciation of issues, different response to change and threat, danger, anger manifestations, and all those things. And there could be a disequilibrium if you decide to stay where you are.
Okay. Is it just Mama Catherine, is this just a perception that such women tend to disrespect the men, or the men who are younger, or those who do not earn enough? Is it automatic?
It will be, for me, a generalization which is very erroneous.
Okay.
It's not true that all such women disrespect the younger men that they marry, not at all.
If you take on the scale of between 1 to 10, how would you place it?
I wouldn't want to do that, since I have not personally done any research or survey on it. But going by probably the people that I talk to and the people that I relate to, it still boils down to what you said. We're coming back to talk about is your understanding of how the new rule will play out. Is the understanding.
Okay. So so let's look at how to end the respect. Like we're saying, I feel that it should be a mutual understanding. We should be on the same page. If we decided that we will be in this commitment, that we should be able to respect each other and see each other as such. You talked about the adjustment, etc. But if it is not normal, what then can you do as a woman? What then can you do to respect I tend to look more at maturity. So if it has to do with age, and because there are still people who are older who behave like children. So if it has to do with age, etc., how do you strike the balance between, seeing this person as someone I am older than, or someone that I am perhaps taking care of, but who is still the head of the house as a woman?
You are taking care of. My goodness, a man will feel very insulted even if you are the ones taking care of.
That's the reality. If I'm taking care of you, I'm taking care of you.
Perhaps the word would be you are responsible for, responsible to.
But you're taking care of him.
Definitely. You see the connotation of cared for.
Oh my God.
Is one who is helpless.
Oh my God.
Helpless.
Never, because a man is created to receive respect.
Okay.
And the way you carry yourself and the tonation and the language you choose can really destroy things for you, which ordinarily would not have been destroyed at all.
Okay.
So let's not even use the word taking care of, no matter the situation. Even if the woman is the only one earning, and out of her earnings, the home is being run. Let's use another thing, because seasons change. And so we've got to come to a place where we respect the seasons that we are in, that the man is younger and you're earning more. But then, by virtue of the agreement you had that you're going to settle with this man, you've got to embrace what is in the present. But then it still requires you sitting down to discuss the dynamics upon which this will work very well. And he wants to take the other perspective. As I was thinking about this, what came to my mind was that there are two schools of thought. There's a secular worldview and there is a Christian worldview.
Okay.
And so if I look at the perspective of the Christian worldview, no matter how much you earn as a Christian woman, if you're a Christian woman, you still will have to bring yourself to a place of knowing that the man is still the head. That's a very serious issue. And that requires that the man will also be mature enough to know that he's earning that respect and that position, not just by his work or what he has brought about or what he has made happen, but just because God has vested it on him. And so it will be of importance that he sits down with the wife and then, because much of these issues are not really about finances. Sincerely speaking, it's not really about finances.
But finances play...
It plays a role if the two people don't really know how to sit down and talk about the core issues at home, which finances will only probably come in to ameliorate or help figure out how to handle it. I think it has to do with moving away from the traditional and coming to say, sweetheart, I married you. I know you're earning more than I do. I know you are older. But you see what? Because our upbringing is different, the societal perspective to this kind of marriage is different. we've got to be able to sit down and understand what we really want to
achieve. Is it
achieve.
much more difficult for that kind of relationship? Is it much more difficult to deal with issues that come in that kind of relationship than it is for the other way around? Yes, it is
very, very. Why do I say that? Because a man is born to believe he's the head. And so when you take that off him, you expose him. So where a situation where probably I am married to a man I'm 5 years older than, and we sit at home and I say, sweetheart, please can you help me with baby's diaper? If I ask an older man twice, 3 times, he will not read meanings to it. Okay. But if I ask a younger husband, please get me diapers 2, 3 times, what will come to the mind will be, does this woman think that I'm the house help? Which naturally would not have been the case. Is an older man. So the things that naturally would have flown in the house will not, because the man is, I'm very careful using this word, insecure. There is a bit of insecurity.
Okay.
When you are married to a younger man and then you earn more, there's a bit of insecurity that has to be worked on.
So in that case, Mr. Annan, how do you deal with it?
You see,
the choice of language, the way you behave, the two of you in the relationship who are trying to make it work. What are the ideal things?
I mean, any woman in this situation must recognize that a man does not need to feel respected. He needs to think respected.
Beautiful.
What's the difference?
You see, men are not motivated by emotions that much. Okay. Oftentimes, the emotions will be more related to romance and things in the bedroom.
That's it.
But for the man, he needs to think. He needs to cognitively process that and come to that reality. If you don't get him to think you respect him, no amount of love you shower on him will mean anything.
I see.
He needs to get that assurance. You see, men have their own insecurities. They have their own battles. And they are afraid they will lose.
Okay.
And so they need someone who comes in as a complement.
That's it.
Not one as a competitor. Now, there are some women who have raised their stakes so high that they are competing with their husbands. Whether they are your age or less than you, it's a dangerous thing.
Okay.
You need to give him that assurance. And it must come in your attitude.
That's right.
It must come in the tonation. It must come in the choice of language. And when and where you say things. What time you go to them to present a case, all those things they can read.
That sounds like a lot of whitewashing to me, to be honest.
When you say whitewashing, what does
it sounds
that mean?
like it sounds like you're not you don't have to be yourself, so to speak, to do all of these things. No. Why?
You see, you have to be you. You have to be a woman. You can't be a man.
Yes, but you're talking about. I mean,
but you've got to think like him. You see, there's a concept called empathy. For instance, why are a lot of women saying that my husband doesn't care, he's not sensitive, he's not responsive, he does not connect emotionally? The man is not wired that way. He needs to now train himself to adjust to respond to your reality. If he is to do so, he needs to empathize with you.
Okay.
He should put himself in his shoe. When you are in that time of the month, when you are firing on all cylinders and he's numb, he needs to adjust and come to your level. Otherwise, he's going to be caught up in his own world and stay glued to where he's familiar.
Why is it all about the man anyway?
Well, we because the question that you asked me was in that respect. Okay, so, but I can speak to the issues of the women as well.
If we could balance it out.
No, yes, it's very important. You see, the issue of headship and submission, I call it the conundrum. Oftentimes, it's not properly explained. So somebody goes into a marital union, he says, I'm the head. Even though he's younger, he feels threatened that the wife constantly uses the phrase, you should know I'm older than you. No couple should encourage that. You should never tell your spouse that I'm older than you.
So the age should never come up in your discussion?
It should not be a reference point.
At all.
Because we come in as equals, but different.
Okay.
Equals because she is in the image of God, I'm in the image of God. If you're in the image of God, am I less than you? Are you more than me? That's where it starts.
Okay.
Now, if you're headship does not mean subjugation. It does not mean control. It does not mean dictatorial tendencies. So you can be a head, but you can be very democratic. You can be very involving. But there are some times that you take decisions that you require firmness. And that would not be disregarding of your wife's contribution. So the woman needs to creatively engage the husband who's younger than her so that he does not feel threatened.
Okay. So creatively engage the husband. Mama Kathy, I'm coming to you. How do you give us practical, if there are there's anything like that, practical steps of how creatively engaging your younger husband who doesn't bring in much.
Wow.
It's difficult, isn't it?
I'm not married to one, but I'll play a role here. Okay. But I think it's simply put, it's called wisdom. It's wisdom in knowing, like he said, when to talk to him.
Okay.
And basically, it's wrapped around communication. So, assuming I'm married to a younger man, and the man has even ego and pride, because there are some men who are younger, okay, there are even some that are old. The ego and the pride is overboard.
Okay.
Okay, so supposing I'm married to this kind of a man, I should be able to understudy the man for a while.
Okay.
And know when it's best to approach him and how to approach him. The language to use. Why? Because I'm looking for peace. Because if I am not going to achieve peace through whatever discussion we're going to have, it's going to backfire.
Okay.
So the first step will be getting to know what impresses him, what makes him feel like a man.
Okay.
Getting to know what makes him feel like a man. Addressing him from that point. And then not reminding him of his failures and weaknesses. Because nobody wants to be reminded over and over of the things they are not doing well.
Okay.
So when I sit him down, I should first of all applaud him for the positives. When I applaud him for the positives, now when I'm addressing other issues, I'm not attacking, because when you also attack a person, you make the person defensive. So I'll let the person know, okay, sweetheart, when you do this, this is how I feel.
Okay.
When you do this, this is how I feel. I wish you could do it this way. So it boils down now to negotiation, not passing down orders. Because no man wants to, even if it's your baby, he wants you to respect him by the way you approach him. Okay, so I would advise women who are married to younger men, please know the season, know the timing, know the language, put your body language well, and be able to connect with the positives that he's been able to put up before you bring the negatives. But probably I feel like just chipping in. Is it only about the man? You said it. And it rings a bell. Okay. Because a woman sitting down and saying, I pick the bills, I pay fees, I put food on the table. This young boy doesn't do anything.
And so, and not just put the food on the table. I mean, she literally cooks and puts the food on the table.
And he may even finish eating and not say thank you.
Yes.
Because probably he comes from a home where such things were not appreciated.
Right.
And to say thank you means you are belittling yourself. And so we may be addressing women like that in the system, who say, to hell with whatever you're discussing, you don't know who I'm living with. The fuel in the car, I put the fuel in the car, he uses it, dries up the tank and come and packs it. He's completely irresponsible. And you're sitting down there telling me that I should follow A, B, C, D. Please.
And perhaps even disrespectful
and
to the woman.
Oh, please, let's not even go there. Very disrespectful, because probably the man comes from a place where women were thought as second fiddle people. Okay, so if we are addressing such a woman who has this kind of a man, my emphasis will be secure in who you are, so that the man doesn't kill your self-worth.
Okay.
Security in who you are as a woman who is old, and maturity will help you to deal with the lapses.
Okay.
Because now you are not attacking him based on his irresponsibilities, but you are coming as a more mature person to engage on a level that is higher than his.
Okay.
Okay. So you now probably, sometimes you may be firm, but firm back up, not firmness, I see him shaking his head. Not firmness in the issue of throwing words and attacking the personality, but lovingly being firm and being diplomatic enough to let him know that whatever position probably you're taking now is in the interest of the family.
Okay. Okay, very, very interesting. I'd like us to address the issue. I think you have some points to make on the back of this, but when you're done with that point, I'd like us to look at what to do when after all these strategies have failed. So
it's also important, Gifty, that couples factor in the personality types they're dealing with.
Okay.
Because men will respond differently per the way they are wired.
Okay.
Some men are laid back, others are very forceful. So, for instance, a choleric would not be very relational, but very much on target most of the time.
Okay.
A sanguine will be very relational and may skip the targets that have been set. So there's a need for any woman who is in such a state to assess what kind of a man am I living with, what the fabric is made of. And that helps you to know his strengths and his weaknesses. Then you can connect with him. So that the daughter. Then the other thing also is got to do with none of them should feel they are doing one a favor.
Okay.
Which oftentimes plays out. The younger guy feels, okay, this woman, she's old, she's not finding anybody well. She came to me, so I am doing her a favor by being there. Wow. The woman may also think like that. Oh, this guy didn't have anybody to help him to subsist. So I'm doing him a favor and he's not reciprocating that gesture. Now, we don't marry and keep the thought, I'm doing you a favor.
Right.
Because that poisons the marital union.
Okay.
So that must be taken away. Now, the woman must also understand that in every man, as it is in every woman, you will find, though she's a woman, there's a girl tendency in her. There is also a boy tendency in the man. I've seen couples who creatively engage the boy tendency in men succeed.
I see.
And the men who find the girl tendency in the women also succeed. That's their soft spot. That's what makes them come to your level.
Okay.
That's where they connect with you. But if you're going to engage the adult tendency in them, there's always going to be a feud that emerges. And that can be very frustrating for couples. Now, the last thing I'll say is this. Now, we married because we wanted to be there for each other. Now, we need to constantly review to be sure that we are complementing each other as we had promised.
Did we marry?
Yes. I mean, if you're married, there's something in the person you hope you can add to. They can add to something in your life. It may be that they would nudge you to be accelerating at a faster pace. It may be that they keep you in companionship. It may be friendship. It may be support, for instance. So whatever reason for which you ended up settling with this individual, you didn't mean to exploit them. You meant to do them good. Which good you must commit to delivering.
I see.
Unfortunately, many go in not as help meet, but they're hurting each other. So they become hurt mates. Now, when you are in such a situation, you are going to have a rub-on effect all the time. Because you lack the greasing, which are all the things of love, respect, sacrifice, adjustment, tolerance, forbearing. Those things are very important. And when you do these things, you aren't doing anybody a favor.
I see. But I'm learning a lot, and I'm sure Michaela is learning a lot as well. As someone who, as a young couple, she and I as well are learning a lot. But it sounds more to me like it's useful information, especially for people who are yet to go into marriage. So I'm going to announce the phone lines, and when we return, I'd like for us to talk about those who are already in and those who perhaps have tried all of these strategies and it still doesn't seem to be working. So the telephone lines are 0302 211 691, 0302 211 691. Also, you can call 0302 211 692. That is 0302 211 692. So let me start with you, Mama Kathy. We're in a relationship. I mean, we're married. We've tried all of these. So, like you're saying, someone is sitting at home saying, "Look at these people," and sometimes they even get tired of listening to them anyway because they've tried everything and it's just not working. What do you do? Walk out?
For a Christian, you haven't exhausted everything. There is always something to tap into for greater level of wisdom to help you manage the situation. I once did a message titled Managing Pain for Maximum Productivity. Sometimes we've got to understand that we don't just marry for for the thrills alone. If you're a Christian, you don't just marry for the thrills alone. You could have married just to stop a cycle.
Okay.
And we've got to recognize that we don't reduce marriage to just the physical and what we gain from it. Because once we do that, we become very selfish and we lose out on why God brought the two of us together.
Okay, let me interrupt you briefly. Kobe is calling us from Accra. Hello, Kobe. Thank you for calling on the show. Have you got any questions for our counselors, or you have a quick experience to share?
Yeah. I'm married to my age mate.
Okay.
Age mate.
And we are happy with each other. We play and we like it. So I want to find out, is it because we are of age mate, that's why we are happy, or it can end up into something else because maturity is not in?
Okay.
So maybe in future, decision making and other things is going to affect it. But for now, we are very happy.
How long have you been married, if I may ask?
3 years.
3 years. Okay. Thank you, Kobe, for calling. Please do keep watching and you get an answer. Gilbert,
Okay.
Gilbert is calling us from Enyinem. Gilbert, thank you for calling. You have any questions or contribution?
Hello, good morning.
Yes, Gilbert, you have any question or contributions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks for the good work that you're doing this morning, and
Thank
I
you.
like the show. Before I proceed, I want to tell my wife that I love her. That is Nancy.
Oh.
Yeah, but there's this issue that is bothering me, and I want you to help me out. The issue has to do with your partner always, listening to his or her parents, taking their advices more seriously than yours. In this case, what do you have to do?
Okay, that's question number 2. And I'll take the final question and then we'll get answers to that. Nelson is calling from Tamale. Nelson, thank you for calling. Let your question flow.
Yeah, I want to speak.
Sorry?
He says he wants to speak to you.
Oh, you want to speak
Yes.
tree?
Yes, I want to speak.
Shoot.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes.
Nelson, go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay. The American yes, science we ask every Friday, the bomb answer the tea. Yeah, the American say that the bomb say every Friday, the tea. Now, the American say, you can't feel any successor. I am not a free again. The DIA is free again. And say, who you did now say, who feel twice, so protect again. Now, and say, you did, where you are working with your relations. The who here, pan say, the best say that we are going for the positive aspect of it.
Okay.
It is a positive aspect of it there. And the piano, the boy, Ama, yet in access, a peace, a better, yea, our one, I say, Yana Muntu. Now, cousin after partner, the future, or they might be
you. Okay. Thank you very much. Nelson is calling from Tamale, and he's basically saying that he listens, watches the show every Friday, and he's talking about success and failure. And the link between success and failure, he says, is in the mind. And so if you do something and consistently you fail at it, you've got to take a back seat and rethink what you're doing. And he's applying that principle to marriage. So let's come to you. Let's start with you, Kevin-Annan, on the questions, the two questions that we had.
Kobe and
age mate,
Gilbert.
yes. Age mate and I think I've forgotten the second one.
Yeah, the influence of parents.
Of parents, yes. In the
well, you see, it will be difficult for me to conclude just simply ahead that they are connecting because they are age mates.
Okay.
There may be other factors that goes for them. It could be they share interests together.
Right.
It could be because they are at the same level. They tend to think and appreciate things the same way. I don't also know their personality types.
Okay.
And I always need to know that. And the value systems that undergird their choices. because values are very important. If we have values that dismisses women, no matter whether they're young or old, we'll dismiss them, we'll mistreat them. Yeah, so those will be things I want to look out for. But I want to encourage him. I think he's on the right path. He should not become complacent.
Okay. Okay.
He should not
that's very
complacent.
good advice for you there.
Yeah.
Do not
I
be
think
complacent.
Mama can take the
yes,
parental issue.
She will.
Apart from the parental, probably I should also tell them, because the marriage is 3 years, probably the children are not very many, school fees hasn't come, a lot of other decisions haven't really come. So they must watch closely at how they will resolve issues that will arise as they progress in the marriage, so it doesn't bring friction. Okay. And then the parental influence. I believe that most people have not really matured to a place of knowing that when you marry, you leave. That doesn't mean you don't take advice, but you should be able to draw a line. Respect the boundaries. Don't allow your parents to interfere so much. And like this man is complaining, maybe you have a situation where the woman is always calling on the family, giving undue attention to the family. That certainly will destroy a marriage. And most people don't realize that. Okay. So no matter how you still want to continue with your family, when you're married, please respect the boundaries. Draw the boundary. If you see your husband coming back and you will phone with your mom or dad or siblings, you should be able to drop the phone and say, sweetheart, please, I'll call you back. My darling has just come in. That shows respect. You know? So you don't drag things. And
but for the man who called, in this case, it was a man who called. So let's assume that is the lady who's doing it.
Yes.
So how does he deal with it?
How does he deal with it? I believe that he should be able to call the lady aside and then let the lady know how he feels when he sees that. He feels that somebody else is coming in on the family. He's not against the family, but he believes that if there are boundaries and we respect the boundaries, it will be better, because this is how he feels. He should let the woman know.
I hope that this works for you for that. I have Alema who's calling us from Sunya. Alema, you have a question, I suppose. I lost him. AJ is calling from Rora. AJ, if you can hear me, you do have a question, I guess.
Yes, I have a question. Please can I speak P?
Please go ahead.
Hello, can I speak P?
Yes, please.
Yes, I want to speak P. Okay, and that's it. But I must say name what my palm with my. I'm a problem and I say many about you or one my way, but yeah, of course we have make a class of our men and our school, while my man one our school where we come out ready. But yeah, dear, how many one say. Anytime be a daytime one, many a fine, a bit come more, a becker study be a come up. It ran your many a code them one. Oh, mammy, fine, not done a minute on to acquire a bay crown feed in not done say, I said near boy carry.
Wow.
And it means this time, but we are the no corner. A hammer, my so in love with so many kinds that make try as it be a obey Timasica crab. But yes or no, and go ye, mammy.
Okay. Okay. Now, okay, say, oh, share no money co school. I just say, oh, one co school, and I say, no co school.
But no,
okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for calling. That is AJ calling from Rara, talking about having a very good relationship with his wife in the morning, but then it becomes a different story in the evening. We'll get answers to that. I have Josephine calling from Dabala. Hello, Josephine.
Yes.
Josephine, what's your question for our counselors?
Please, I'm 25 years old.
Okay.
And my dad is 29.
Okay.
And I always feel like he's older than me. I always feel that kind of impression within me. So I'm always confused.
You're 25 and he's 29.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so why are you confused?
I always feel like he's older than me, but
you want someone younger?
You say?
Do you want someone who's younger?
Yeah, I always feel he's older than.
Okay. We'll get some thoughts from our counselors for you as well. Ajay called from Rara and Josephine called from Dabala.
Yeah, let me just quickly add to the issue of the parental influence.
Okay.
You see, many people fail to build a relationship prior to marriage. And so when you enter into marriage, they become rivals. But we must understand that once we marry, our in-laws are described in-laws because of marriage. She's your mother by marriage. He's your father by marriage. That's why you call him father-in-law.
Yeah.
Now, leaving does not mean abandonment. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, they create that impression. So then your relatives begin to fight your spouse.
But why should they fight them?
Well,
I mean, if someone...
take a look at somebody who is raised the only child by the parents. The expectations on such a person by the parents are huge. Now, you as a wife or a husband should have consideration for that reality that they live in. So that they don't come across as having abandoned their parents. Who have sacrificed their very life for this individual.
So in that case, the spouse in this, the spouse in question will
must
also
lead the way. They need to
reach out
to the other family. Now, if it is that your significant person is always listening to the parents, you've got to find out whether you create enough atmosphere for her to engage you or him to engage you. Sometimes people create a certain hostile environment. So the person doesn't have anyone to talk to.
So they go to
and so the only
parents.
person to fall back will be their parents, because that becomes their backbone. And then the gentleman who is having roadblocks in the bedroom. There are bedroom protocols. And unfortunately for many men, they only see the end product, not the processes leading to the end product. Now, because it's early morning,
I think we can deal with this. It's Friday.
Now it's Friday. With your red, I can imagine.
We can deal with it. I mean, because these are real issues for him.
They are.
I mean, I can imagine having fun with somebody in the morning and talking, and everybody is looking at the perfect picture, and we go into the bedroom in the night and practical. I mean, I will be so angry.
Yeah. You see, when you disconnect all day, you disconnect all day, only to hope to create benefits in the evening. Clearly, no woman will want to encourage that. It's a possibility that is out there. Now, his mind that I took care of her, that's also a very dangerous thing to have.
Because but that's the reality.
It's a reality, but you don't harp on that. Don't harp on that. Because you did that for your mutual benefit. You see, that mutuality, the mindset of it's for our good, we are better together, needs to be reinforced in the union. Otherwise, look, it will be like I'm doing a favor.
But how would that then stop the woman? Let me bring Mama Kathy in.
Respect is also part of it. Sometimes you don't connect emotionally. You don't hold her, you don't embrace her, you don't touch her. So you go into this. I had a case. The guy said, I'm ready, just lie down, let me do it quickly and go. I mean, when you have these kinds of mindset, how do you expect the woman to respond?
But I don't think the guy in question...
No, he's not doing that.
Yeah.
But see,
he says
it's
he's
a common
done
thing.
everything.
Many
He said
women are lamenting.
he said he's shown her... He says that he's shown her love. He's done everything.
He says
that
he connects by the day and he
but
pays
it
the
depends
fees.
on whether... I think we should... probably, since we can speak with the wife...
more information.
We needed to hear from the wife whether what he calls connection is connection.
It's connection.
Exactly.
Indeed. Right.
And then another thing is you may connect all day and come to the bedroom, and if you are the quick fix, no woman wants a quick fix. There is a process. You don't just jump on a woman. And if she's tired, you just even thinking of what you're coming to the bedroom to do, tunes her off. Wow. And so men have got to learn how to handle the processes that go on in the bedroom.
I see.
Because a woman is highly emotional, looks for affection. The end product is not what a woman wants. No.
The woman wants the process. And the man wants the end product.
The end product is what a man wants. The woman doesn't want that. Interestingly, you may not even reach the end for a woman and she's satisfied if you know how to handle the aspects, the modalities that are supposed to be played out there. And so men have got to, because I sense that this gentleman is the kind of person that just wants to hop on. And maybe he has hopped on for too long and the woman has tuned off and left him. So he should go look for a sex therapist and then let the person help, take him through what it means.
Okay, so that was from AJ. AJ, you've got some advice there. Because it's not like an interactive session with them.
They can't get more facts.
Yes, they can get information that will help them give you detailed or specific, if you like, tailored information on how to deal with your situation. But she's advising that you seek help from a sex therapist or perhaps a counselor. I think a counselor would do. What don't you think?
Sometimes what will happen is that if you get the preliminary information, you determine whether really the problem is got to do with sex.
But you wouldn't advise.
Sometimes that's not the issue. The issue is not really about the sex.
He says he's doing all what should be done.
Well, he's saying so, but when you do a diagnostic conversation, you ask more poignant questions, you go more into details, and then you create a better picture for him to see and appreciate where the roadblocks are.
Okay. I still want us to come back to what you do when after all the strategies of dealing with a man younger than you and a man who doesn't earn enough to take care of the family. You do all of these and it's still not working. What you do. But we still have a number of calls here. Let's try and fix that and then we can get back to our topic. Francis Azuri is calling from Bolga. Hello, Francis. Francis, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Please go ahead.
And good morning to the counselors there.
Morning.
I have an issue here. I'm dating a lady, then also a student as well. I will complete my college of education next year. Then the lady is saying that we should get married now.
Okay.
Now, I love this girl, but there is a problem here. She's saying that she would like to marry this year. Hadn't been so, it will not be easy for us.
Because you're not ready.
Yes, because I need to complete school before.
Okay.
And she's also insistent.
Okay, so you want to know what you can do about this situation?
Yes.
Okay, Francis, our counselors will speak to that. I have Amankwa Johnson from Kumasi. Amankwa, how are you doing? Hello, Amankwa, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. What's your question?
My question is, we live very happily. Now, so, at times, the other be anyone more of a fact. Just to see, the end results are balanced. And so I just said, they're now working.
Mama, typical example.
A typical example here. I'm a you know, be in our area. Our near Fanson and Yonko, Nabanfo. Now, my one from early stages, and never revealed to me, say, or the Koama of a problem about a discuss will be a saloon or a teacher in your tradi. Now, mostly no about or my kind of Befia or Taiko. Means baby at the minimum the man and the friends and I work for me bit me.
Okay.
But I could do be home, come no one can be and so not Banakofa problem there, but anti alcohol. Over call so I be as a hook of fix will be and I was a call. Yet on the team, than the end results of Baba. And secondly, or making myself available for sex. Whenever that she needs it.
Okay.
Now, so at such a time, I do me so. Not I wanted to engage myself in sex. Not me. I can sometimes or in the mood. Now, me because I say, oh no, yes, I'm no right. This also means I catch it sometimes a time to come. Means ready, Anna.
Okay, your counselors never answer. You get some answers from our counselors here. Let me take one final call and then we'll take the answers on that. Is it Johnson or Sandra J in Accra?
Yeah, I'm Sandra.
Sandra, please go ahead.
Well, I'm dating a man who is Sandra J. Yes. I'm dating a man who is 10 years older than me.
Okay.
And we move on very well. We love each other. But the problem I'm having is when I see something and I want to ask him, or when he does something and I ask him, why did you do this? The answer he gives to me is, you're intruding into my privacy.
Okay.
And so because of that, even if I see something I'm not happy with, I can't ask him because when I ask, it's either we quarrel throughout for about 3 months or something. And I don't know what to do.
Okay. Well, Sandra,
he has a kid, And most often he goes to visit his kid wherever the kid is. And I always get worried when he goes to visit the kid because the kid's mother and then he are still in good terms. When he comes and then I'm worried and I want to ask and confirm my doubts, he always gets angry and then starts shouting at me.
Okay. So you want to know what to do. Our counselors will do their best to give you some advice, although it would have been better if they have a lot more information. So these are the calls that we have. Amankwa's wife doesn't listen to advice according to him, and when he is available for sex, the lady says, I'm not in the mood. But when she is available for sex, he goes ahead. So he wants to ask, is it okay for him to also begin to say, I'm not in the mood? And then Sandra is also dating an older man and seems to be under some kind of control there. Let me start with you, Councillor Annan.
Well, Sandra, you are in a very, very precarious situation. I mean, this is a man who's not yet married to you and can stay away from you for 3 months. It's a red flag.
Okay.
Now, you are not particularly enthused or happy about his engagement with his previous woman whom he has a child with. And he says you are intruding into his space. These are red flags.
Okay.
You need to get help, find some appropriate individuals to speak to so that some more details can be gleaned from the story.
And dealt with.
Now, with Amankwa, he has concluded that the wife does not listen to him, and that's very difficult because if you conclude that the woman doesn't listen to you, even when she listens to you, you still think she doesn't listen to you. Now, it will be good to ask the wife why she goes there, what drives her, because creating the environment for conversation is so important. Unfortunately, with the men, because we are go-getters, we don't cherish and value this conversation. And so it may well be that she's not finding your conversations exciting enough, so she finds the one out there which you disapprove of. There will be the need communication again. Talk. And raise your issues, but don't use sex as a supplanter, which I see in some relationships. You see, men are almost always ready. Men are almost always ready. It doesn't take much for a man to get ready. That's how you were created. Yes, that's how we are wired.
Yeah, but you can deal with it. I mean, you can
numb yourself. That's when you numb yourself. This one is a choice. You are numbing yourself out of it. And usually it's also from the issue of you think you're doing the person a favor. Now, you need to talk with your wife. I mean, why is she saying she's not in the mood? If she's not in the mood, she cannot pretend to be in the mood. Otherwise, she can give you something that may suffice. But I tell you, you have a shock of your life.
Mama Kathy, what do you say to this?
I think for Mankwa, I would rather say it goes both ways, but let me use this analogy now. That some of us never really saw good role models of the part, this thing we are acting out now. And it's very difficult to be a wife, a very good wife, when you had not seen your mother play out what it means to be a wife. And then it's also very difficult to be a good husband when you hadn't really seen a husband being played out by your father. And so we've got to be able to bring this in and sit down and discuss. I may not have come from homes where we saw or we may not have come from homes where we saw this played out. But we've got to be able to learn because we want to leave our children with something better than we got before we got into this marriage. So it's so important. And so when a woman goes out, like Counselor said, the truth is you may not create a conducive atmosphere. But I also want to say, you know, 2 wrongs don't make a right. You don't also disobey your husband just to prove a point. You should be able to call yourselves to order and then see how you can work around what you have to create the kind of atmosphere you want. And then the young lady who is good, Sandra, I don't know whether she needs counseling. We have finished counseling. She should drop out. She should. I don't like playing on words. The man doesn't respect your opinion. The man is not accountable to you. He says you're invading his privacy. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Isn't that too drastic? I mean, she said that we love each other.
What is love? Unmarried people don't know love. Unmarried people, they don't know love. What they call love is not love. Until you enter the real thing and then you go and see what awaits you there. What most unmarried people say love is lust and passion that has no direction.
Unmarried people, like me.
Oh, please.
So Sandra should let go.
She should, okay, let me be a bit lenient and, okay, let her seek for help. But to be sincere with you, a man that does not respect you now, whatever the actions are will be magnified or amplified when you get into the relationship.
Quickly, adding to that,
That's
you see,
scary.
marriage is a multiplier.
Oh, yes.
And it's an amplifier.
Oh,
so
yes.
if this is what is for,
this is what you're getting now.
A foretell of what is to come, then you can imagine.
You're going to get more.
It's going to be amplified.
I hear too many.
That's why I said it's a red flag.
The red flag. And then you still went in as if you saw green or amber. What is that? Oh.
Sandra, if you're listening, I mean, personally, I would do the same.
Yeah.
These are red flags. You're saying if you're seeing this now, it's likely that what you're going to see are bigger. So I know it's not easy. It's not easy to disengage after you have engaged at that level, but try and do something about it. I think we left out something.
Yes, Francis
he is not ready for marriage, and the lady wants to get married now. Can they work around it? I mean, what is it? If you love me and we want to settle,
there still needs to be some more talking. More clarity must be brought. Expectations need to be properly managed in such circumstances. If you know you are not ready, just let it be known. Sometimes you may have to lose it.
No, I mean, but if
sometimes
you love each other,
may lose it eventually.
You love each other. They've been in a relationship
it doesn't
for a long
matter
time.
whether you are. You see, that's why being in these protracted relationships creates a lot of uncertainties, and it increases people's anxiety levels and frustration sets in. Here you are. You know you are not ready. The lady is ready. Now the chances are that this lady may then begin to look elsewhere. And you'll be frustrated because you think you have invested.
As a man, what will make a woman ready? The guy is in school.
He's in
school. Let's just address this issue. This guy is in school. Marriage comes with responsibilities. Yes. How do you expect him? Because the same woman will tell him when he gets inside, you are not doing this, you are not doing, I'll be doing comparative analysis. So what is this thing we're talking about?
So what should he do?
What should he do? He should sit her down and tell her exactly where he is. And he loves her so much. But if she feels she can give him a little bit more time, she's free to go.
Hey.
Oh no, gift is very important.
Marriages and divorces that is on the high. Is it that we should pad this thing? I'm not ready to pad anything. The divorce out there is too much. Let's not pad.
Wow.
Gifty, it's important you left a relationship that potentially can give you a headache than to get into marriage and wish you were single.
I think you would have to also read around maybe how to deal with it, how to deal with letting go, because it can be very difficult.
It can be difficult.
Very difficult.
It may not be easy, but the truth of, sorry to cut it, the truth is that when he puts the whole thing on the table for the lady, she may advise herself.
Yes. She may advise herself. Yeah. Okay. I hope this works for you. Unfortunately, we don't have so much time, so I hope this works for you. We'll take our final two calls. Gabi Ahmed is calling from Wager. Hello, Gabi. Sorry for keeping you on the line.
Oh, sorry.
Did I lose you? George. I think I did. But I have George. Okay, Gabi. Gabi, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Okay, let's move to George now. Gabi, I'm so sorry that we kept you so long and we had to lose you like that. George is calling us from Boko. Hello, George, are you there? Okay, so I've still got some time to take two more calls. I lost the two of you. If you can try again, or if two more people can call. Let's come back to wrap up our discussion on what to do after all the strategies, respecting the man, knowing what impresses him, not reminding him of his weaknesses. You've tried all of that. It's not working. What do you do? He's younger. He doesn't earn much. You're working hard. You're probably sleeping with him, you know, cooking for him, doing everything as a wife.
Did you say probably?
I mean, sorry.
I didn't hear that.
I mean, you're having sex with him, you're cooking for him, you're doing laundry, you're going out there to work and bring home the money, and at the end of the day, he's young, he's not matured enough to think, you know, the way you probably want him to think, and you've tried all of these and you're still not reaching out to him. What do you do? Who wants to start?
Marriage is like going to a Chinese restaurant. I mean, where it is that the menu is not written in English.
Okay.
You may look at somebody's
Before I
meal
lose
and
these
say,
callers, let's take these two last callers, and then we'll wrap up the discussion. Karen is calling from Kaswa. Karen, thanks for calling. What's the question?
Yes. Please, good morning.
Morning, Catherine. Karen.
Please, I want to find out if you are betrayed in the marriage. How do you go about it?
Okay,
if you are betrayed, as in how?
Betrayal.
Like your husband gave birth outside the marriage.
Okay, before you married or after?
No, before we got married, and the baby was not forthcoming, and he went outside to give birth.
Okay.
So how do you go about it? And he kept it as a secret for 5 good years before he informed me.
Okay. Karen,
how do you go about it?
Right, Karen, our counselors will speak to that. Sabri Tassan is calling from Tamale. Sabri, thanks for calling. What's the question?
Good morning to your listeners, and I must really thank your panel for the wonderful things they're doing.
Sabri, can you say that again?
Yeah, I said I'm very, very grateful for the program you are doing. In fact, you must keep it up.
Thanks for watching and
calling. I feel like
these
programs should even be the whole day program. Because, hello?
Yes, you're right. I agree.
Yes.
Go ahead with your question.
The thing that impresses me more about your panelists is they said that marriage is an amplifier. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, the marriage is an amplifier. Whatever you see now, when you marry, it amplifies. If you see love now, it means when you enter into marriage, the love will amplify. And if you see worse things now, it means when you marry, I'm a victim of that. That is why I love it. Because when I was dating, my girl at that time, excuse me to say, she cheated on me, and then I felt like by that time we were almost married. So I felt like, let me let it go. And maybe when we marry, things will stop. But in the marriage, in fact, what I saw, I can't even express it on air.
Okay.
In fact, and the second thing too is that, what is the name? I don't really know how to put this one. Your wife begin to move with people that you feel like they are not giving her a proper
advice.
What do you have to do?
Okay. Thank you, Sabri. You get some answers to those questions. So 2 questions. Betrayal in marriage, has a child somewhere, 5 good years. She gets to know afterwards. Sabri says he had an experience of the amplification of issues at the relationship level and how it translates when you get into marriage. And then secondly, his question is about what to do with your spouse if you think they're in bad company. Okay. I think Mama can
okay, the lady who has been betrayed, 5 years after the husband is coming to tell her. That goes back. What works for one may not work for another, but as a Christian, and by reason of my call, I would say it's normal to be hurt. It's very normal for her to be hurt, because right now, what betrayal does is that it kills trust. Yeah. She'll find it very difficult to believe anything that comes from him. And so the man, if he's listening, or any such man in this scenario, before I come back to the woman, should know that nobody gives out trust. You earn trust. Okay? And then this woman in question now, you've discovered that this man has cheated because you didn't have a child. He went behind you. She went. Assume that he didn't fear God. If he knew God, he would never have done that. But he's already done it. It's either you stay in or you choose to come out. Because on the premise of adultery, okay, you could find excuse. But then I am very careful to say, you must hear God. If you are a Christian, hear God for yourself, whether he wants you out or not.
Right.
If he wants you in, trust grace to give you the ability to forgive.
Okay.
But it's going to take a gradual process to be able to come to a place where you completely let it go.
Right.
But trust God to help you. Okay. Okay. But what we didn't find out was whether she has a child now.
No, it appears she has, because said when they got married initially, she wasn't. The child wasn't coming. Okay. So it appears they have now.
Ishmael and Isaac. Okay. Yeah. What do we do now? How does the she should approach the husband, and also I think she should approach the husband and then find out on what terms he'll be meeting that woman who is the mother of that child. Because for as long as he keeps going there and there's this continuity of the relationship, it may still pose a threat to the marriage in here. So all those things are the things that should come into the discussion. I want to believe that she has a rapport with the husband. She should be able to sit down and then talk about these rich conclusions that will help protect their marriage against this happening again. And then The other
issue was
bad company.
Bad company
and cheating.
Bad company. The cheating happened previously, but now I think when they got married, yes, now she's in bad company. He wants to know what to do.
I wanted to know whether that man is still married to the lady. Then he's a very wonderful man. He's a very wonderful man because now he's letting us know, and the people who are watching, that anything you go through during premarital relationship will magnify. Now the woman is keeping bad company. To be sincere with you, women like that, it's very difficult to approach them and talk sense into them. Maybe because I know a few things and I've seen a few things. When a woman is bent, or even a man is bent on his or her wrong ways, it takes grace to bring them out. Okay, so what do you do? What is taking her outside, like Mr. Nan said? What is taking the woman outside? Are you creating a conducive atmosphere? Or has what has been going on affected the atmosphere such that even if she's home, you are not available? You are home but not home. Because if you allow the fallout of all what has been going on to affect the atmosphere at home, then you give her license to go out with the people she's going out with. So we've got to be able to create a conducive atmosphere. Call her in and let her know the consequences of her action, and then ask her to tell you what will make her disconnect with bad company.
Okay, quick one from you as well.
I mean, I think I'll let what she has said on these two stay. Generally speaking, to those who are in a marriage union where they are older than their husbands, in marriage, it's not always going to be pleasant. There are some unpleasant things that we don't often prepare for, but they come. And so they call it learning on the job. So that will require you to go through the difficult moments of, sometimes you need help beyond yourself to be able to understand whoever you're living with. Now, the other thing also is that we must remember that we are mutually responsible for each other and to each other. We are mutually accountable to each other and for each other. Because see, if you go into a mode where you are older and it still always reinforces in your mind that you are older than him, then you don't have a spouse. You actually have somebody who is younger than you living with you. Even though that in reality is what it is. Now, the other thing is this, that there will be some enduring moments in marriage. And painful as infidelity, betrayal of trust would be, there may be moments of endurance. It will test your resolve to say you are religious. Because for many of us, we are so religious, but we tend to be so unforgiving. And we should remember the popular phrase that says, to err is human, to forgive is divine. So if you are religious, my assumption would be that you tap more into the divine nature of your being. So we can forgive, but that will mean that there will be a lot of disclosure that is required. And those who are in unions where there's no disclosure should be careful, because when discoveries that are shocking are made, people no longer now want to commit. And the danger for women is that it will cascade into every other area of life. Because unlike men, women tend to think in several rings. You know, it's like the bulb onion. Any man relating to a woman, pick an onion and look at how it is designed. The rings will just go like that. But for men, we are one go project. We can segment an item and just keep it there and let it not roll into others. We are different. Different
people dealing with perhaps a mutual situation. Let me take your, that will be your final comment on this. After you have done all of these and it's not working, what do you do?
After we've done all and it's not working, number one, if you're a Christian, pray. Or whatever religion you're given to, pray. Seek counsel. Because nobody has monopoly of knowledge. Okay, so you should be able to consult people that you trust can give you godly counsel. Number three, I don't want to believe that any woman will say you are younger than me. Say it verbally, but let not your body language send that signal. Okay, and then number four, sorry, come to a place where you let the younger spouse know that it's not about the age difference. The truth of the matter is that there are things to be done. I can't be working 13 hours or 12 hours. And then you expect me to come and do laundry, expect me to come and do one or two things. Let's change the dynamics of how these things work. Because the traditional structure fits a woman into doing every of the chores at home. But you can't expect me to be doing that because I would have loved to do it, but I don't have all the time in the world. So please understand this. And then if all this still doesn't work, Trust God.
Try again.
Trust God. Okay.
Try again.
Let me take your final comment on this.
I mean, we're told if you try and you fail, try again.
There's a show, there's a program that
there's a program that we are running. The last 2
Okay.
weekends in May, we are doing a marriage rebirth. There's this thing that we've started, marriage rebirth for couples.
Okay.
And we're going to be doing it for 2 consecutive weeks because there are a lot of issues now. There are too many issues, and it looks as if we are losing the next generation because this did not give us time to talk about the disillusionment in children who do not see marriage well. So let's see. So please, I will leave, if I'm permitted, I could leave the numbers that they can call if I'm permitted. Otherwise, my number could.
Your number should be on this book, right? Or
Yes,
if you have a
yes.
website,
Yes.
website that they could go to, a website that people could go to, we can put it out there as well.
Yes, please.
So what's the website?
The www.familyrenaissanceinternational.org.
Okay.
Familyrenaissanceinternational.org.
Yes. I just trying to seek a bit of clearance about that number, by the way. So what will be your final comment?
Certainly. I mean, we decided to marry, and we are in not as house helps and domestic assistants. We are in as spouses. See him as your husband. Don't see him as somebody you are doing a favor.
Okay.
That mindset would help you. Now, the other thing is this, that whoever is also the younger one must endeavor not to feel insecure.
Okay.
And then they always put to flight the slightest thing. They use tears as manipulative tools. Sometimes you find those scenarios also playing out. Let's be generous towards each other. If we are spouses, let's respect each other. Let's build each other up so that we are all better together. Together we achieve more.
Okay. Better together, and together we achieve more. It's been a very interesting conversation for me. I've learned so much. I always learn when I'm with counselors, and I think it's a very refreshing experience. So I have this book here, Choosing to be Cantankerous Because Your Partner is Different is Being Immature. When you're always correcting, rebuking, nagging, and criticizing him, you are calling for the collapse of your marriage. And the misunderstanding of the importance of sex has killed many marriages. I'll leave you with that. But just so you know, those are all in this book. This book is written by Mama Kathy. Here, the book is Secrets to Surviving Your Early Years of Marriage. So, Michaela and I, this book is very good for you and your husband. The producer, you want to get one. Of course, Echo is too young for this book, but he can still get it and read. He can still get it and read. You never know. But Roland, this is your book. You can do with this. Secrets to Surviving.
Is it for Gifty as well?
He has completely excluded himself.
Roland, is it for Gifty as well?
So, Secrets to Surviving Your Early Years of Marriage. I think it got some very interesting quotes, but you might want to get yourself one and read for yourself. What's the program again? The name of the program?
Marriage Rebirth.
Marriage Rebirth.
Yeah.
Marriage Rebirth. You just had a talk about the rate of divorce, the way that as a counselor, she says so many stories, so many issues come up. Rebirth of marriage. Let's look into that. You can call them on 0242681342. 0242681342 or 0501289950. 0501289950. Get yourself some counseling and get yourself into this program and help your marriage. We don't want marriage. You know that the nation is bits and pieces of families put together. We need to sustain the families and keep the nation running. It's been very interesting talking to you here. We've been doing our Relationship Friday, and I've been doing this with relationship coaches Amos Kevin-Annan and Catherine Owodoke.
You are too much.
Okay, thank you so much for passing through. So I hope that you've learned something. Those of you who called, free counseling for you, and I hope that I really, really sincerely hope that it helps you to sustain your relationships. It hurts to see relationships break down, but sometimes don't stay in to kill yourself and don't stay in to regret later. In all things, she says, if you believe in God, pray and trust that grace will take you through. Roland Walker is standing just behind the camera that I'm looking into and making all sorts of gestures. He needs this book. So I'm going to take a break for him to come on. Please stay with us.